Hello, my name is Grace West, and this is a discussion about building relationships between professors and students. Even as a first-year educator, I have seen the importance of building trusting relationships with my students. If my students feel safe and believe that I am someone to be trusted, they will be more likely to learn. See, as Bosch quotes, trust has been generally defined as people who share common cares and needs and who value trust in their relationships. Therefore, to build trust, an instructor must be intentional in getting to know their students' interests and future dreams, along with their religion, culture, and just home life. In this way, a bridge of trust can be built, and through this bridge, a professor is able to bring their student an opportunity of a better education. Research of high school and college education has shown that students who trust their teachers and vice versa perform better in school. Best practices for building relationships and rapport between professors and students is the way that this can be done. There are many ways to build relationships with students, and it can sometimes seem overwhelming knowing where to start with large class sizes. Some simple practices I have learned is to be vulnerable with my students. For example, sometimes I will share an anecdotal opener where I express something that maybe was a weakness for me and they may have a similarity to, and this encourages them in that way. Some other best practices for building rapport with students may be as simple as knowing their names or listening well, being kind, and offering as many office hours as I can in order to personally connect with the students. This way, I form a place of respect, and the student learns that I desire what is best for them and not just to be their professor. Miriam M. Baumgardner discussed this. They said, learning as much as possible about the learner and tailoring instruction to that learner through pluralization or presenting content in several ways to stimulate multiple intelligence to show a full understanding of a topic is the way, right, to connect with a student and to present, right, to present and facilitate trusting relationships. Learning the needs and interests of students is really important. I will personally do this through offering office hours, listening one-on-one to my students, and providing a space for them to ask questions of me and I of them. I will have students create name tags on the first week of school in order to learn their name within the first couple weeks. This way they feel heard and important. Furthermore, I will incorporate discussion into the lectures to allow the students to build relationships with one another and to connect their personal experiences with the course content. Once I learn some of their interests and the needs of the other students, I can then incorporate them into the lectures. Once again, Merriman and Baumgardner discussed, right, the importance of incorporating specific instruction for a student, that they should not have to come to a classroom and find their own way to learn. The instructor should easily integrate all learning styles and use them in the instruction methods. Allowing space, there we go. So yes, pluralizing, right? Learning as much as possible at the learner and tailoring instruction to that learner through pluralization or presenting content in several ways to stimulate multiple intelligences to show a full understanding of a topic. This way, students can actually learn the material and not just be thrown into a topic. Next, addressing a student's differing viewpoint is very important for building trust. Mark 4:24 says, pay attention to what you hear. With the measures you use, it will be measured to you, and still more will be added to you. Allowing space for students to express themselves means that I will not always agree with them as their teacher, but I hope to address my students with respect, listening first, asking questions, trying to understand their perspectives, and allowing the students to feel safe for in a place where they're allowed to share their opinion and to have a different one than the rest of the class. This is important to me to protect the students from any type of unsafe environment. I'd like to foster a safe space for discussions about God and connection between the content and everyday life. Ultimately, I would like to respond how I would like to be treated, as Mark 4:24 explained. Finally, I would like to apply the Christian worldview by supporting culture and diversity in my classroom. I will be able to apply the Christian worldview through encouraging students to love one another and presenting that myself as hopefully a loving instructor from the love that God has given to me. John 13:35 states, "By this everyone will know that you are my disciples if you love one another." Therefore, we are all called to love one another if we are God's disciples. And as a follower of Christ, I believe it is my job to represent Christ to my students and love them well. It is only through God's love I can create the safe, supporting environment to encourage diversity in my classroom in order to facilitate these in-depth discussions. Thank you for listening. Here are my references. I hope you learned something about trust in the classroom.